Hey everyone, how's it going? Alright, so last time we finished the painting the Hulk, and so this is going to be the speed painting of Wolverine. Before I start painting, I wanted to move Wolverine's left hand. I didn't like the claws touching his Incredible Hulk's face, so I ended up just cutting and pasting his hand further back a little bit. The way I did it is I pretty much just copied his hand and the claw because they're on two separate layers, and then I pushed the hand and claw back at the same time, and then I erased the original hand, and then I turned on the new hand and erased the parts that overlapped his face, and this way I could erase the new hand without erasing lines on his face. And then when I was done, I just merged both of the cells together, and then I turned the claws back on, and then that's it. So now the new hand and the regular line art are all one again. So here I also created a folder where I put my palette layers. So here I'm creating the color palette for the yellow, and seeing as how I'm in the yellow and the colors next to mine is green and red. Red seemed like the darker color, so I moved the color wheel towards the red. I tested it when I moved it, shifted to the green side, and it was getting lighter. So definitely go, when you're in the yellow, go towards the red to get those other shades. And so here I'm just gonna use a magic wand to first I'm creating a lot of layers, so the flat layer, low layer, mid layer, dark layer, and then highlight layer. So 5 layers for those different colors, and then I'm putting them in order because the order does matter. And then I open up the Hulks folder just to check the order. I also, seeing as how I have the claws on a separate layer, I have two versions of the claws. I'll get to that later. But anyways, I put that in a separate folder too. But anyway, so basically, yeah. So I go to the line layer and use the magic wand, select the area, and just spill the paint in the area, and then same as last time, just go to the low shade layer, start applying some shade where I think the shadows are gonna be. So yeah, it's a little bit more. I thought it was a little bit more complicated than the Hulk. I don't know. But it took me the same amount of time. It took me about an hour to finish the whole painting from start to finish. And it's weird because this has more different colors than the Hulk. The Hulk was just green and purple, really, and this has yellow, blue, the flesh color, and then the red belt. But the red belt was just red. I just put a flat color red on there. So here again, I'm just grabbing the blend tool and just softening up those edges on the shadows there. Oh yeah, so I ended up putting those no, I did it right. I thought I had put it on the wrong layer, but I think I did it right. Did I? Yeah, okay, I did. So now I'm putting the mid shade. These are the mid shades. Okay. Yeah, so here I finally on this part here on the leg here, I selected the flat layer, and then I moved back to the mid layer, and then I I applied the shadow. It's much easier that way because you can pretty much stay in that selected area, and I kind of do that a lot now because there's a lot of tight places on this one, and just so I can not drift outside the lines, I just pretty much go to the flat layer and select it, and that it creates a kind of like a masking, a temporary mask, I guess. And so here I selected all I went to the flat layer, selected all the yellow areas, and then I moved to the dark shade, and I started applying the dark shade paint, and then with the blend tool just blended those soft areas off. Yeah, I compressed this video as far as Vegas Pro allowed me to compress it. So a little less than 15 minutes, but like I said, it took me an hour to paint this, an hour in real time. So here I'm just looking how it looks like with the Hulk. Pretty good so far. And now I'm adding the highlights. And you know, in retrospect now, thinking about it, I could actually add highlights at the very end after all the paint is laid down, because the highlight's always white, and so I guess next time I do a project, I'll wait till the very end to apply the highlights. But I don't know, it doesn't matter really. So again, even with the highlights, I grabbed the blend tool and get rid of those. So I made a mistake here. See how I put that highlight on top of that black stripe? That black stripe, and all the black stripes actually, are on the line layer. So what I ended up having to do was selecting the line layer and then spray that white paint over that black stripe, and now it's there forever, which means I can't edit it because I actually think that's too much white there. I might end up just going over the black stripe and just coloring it black again, and then put a separate layer outside of create a separate highlight layer on top of the line layer for that specific area there. So now I grab the blue paint from the sample picture that I grabbed from the internet, and so I'm just applying the blue paint, and I of course you grab the different shades using the color wheel trick. I added a minor correction here on the line layer. I added some more black here. He kind of had some black tip boots. So yeah, now I'm just adding the low shade, and so yeah. Anyways, towards the end of the video, I show the short claws, because I kind of had the idea that it would be more realistic if you had short claws, because that was on a whole separate video. And when I turned on the short claws, yeah, okay, I was wrong. He looks better with the longer claws. Yeah, so I'm wrong sometimes, but it's cool to try new things. With the layers, you can play out multiple scenarios. Um, you could even do different color schemes, and because all the colors are on different layers, you can try out different color schemes and stuff. So here I'm putting in the mid shade, and again I use that trick where you just select the colored areas from the flat colors. You go to the flat color layer, select all the blue, and then leave those areas selected as you move through the different other shaded area or the other shade layers, and that way your paint and your blending won't leave those areas. Now I will say that it's very weird when you have an area selected next to a different color, and you happen to place your I'm using a Wacom tablet, or a Wacom Cintiq, and if you put your pen on a different color, like say in the yellow, and you drag it into the blue, for some reason it picks up the yellow color. You'll see that when I start to paint his face. I put the pin in the yellow mask, and I drag it into his flesh face, the flesh color face, and it kind of pulls in the yellow. I don't know if that's a bug in the program or something that was overlooked, or if it's intentionally supposed to be that way. So I don't know. So here, yeah, even for the skin color, I grabbed the flat color from the comic, and then again using the color wheel trick, I pick up the different shades. And so again, I go to the line art and I select all the areas with exposed skin. Now, because some of these areas are very, very small, like the where the eye is, I don't put any shade there. I just leave it flat. Really, his arm and his face is really where I just put shade. And it gets, I confuse myself. I accidentally put some of that shade color on one of the wrong layers, so you'll see me panicking and hitting that undo button like a madman. So there's not too much distinction there on the low shade, but it's something. It's a little, and as you go into the higher shaded colors, you'll start to see the difference. So here I'm in the mid shade, but I'm applying the dark shade, and so I start blending, and I start to notice that, hey, nothing's really changing, and it's supposed to. So then, yeah, I start trying to figure out a way to undo until I get back to as far as I can, and then I was like, okay, I'll start from here now. And so now I go into the dark shade layer and I start putting in dark shade. Yeah, these areas are very, very small, so it's so yeah, that's it. So the next video that I want to do is I want to add some extra little details and do some touch-ups. So I'll show you guys how to use. It'll be more of a tutorial, not a speed paint. I'll show you guys how you can add some details on the clothes and maybe on the skin, and definitely on the Hulk's hair. So if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you got any questions or comments, leave them down below. And I hope to see you guys in the next one.